Hey, first grade friends, and welcome back to another first grade read aloud. Today I brought a book titled After the Fall by Dan Santat, and this is the story of how Humpty Dumpty got back up again. This is published by Roaring Brook Press, and I appreciate their permission to share this book with you today. But I thought it was a great book to read during this time of studying fairy tales, and some people have talked about nursery rhymes as another genre of those classic stories that have been told time and time again for many, many years. So today, After the Fall by Dan Santat. My name is Humpty Dumpty. This was my favorite spot, high up on the wall. I know it's an odd place for an egg to be, but I loved being close to the birds. Then one day, I fell. I'm sort of famous for that part. Folks called it the Great Fall, which sounds a little grand. It was just an accident, but it changed my life. Fortunately, all the king's men managed to put me back together again. Well, most of me. There were some parts that couldn't be healed with bandages and glue. After that, I became afraid of heights. I was so scared that it kept me from enjoying some of my favorite things. I walked past the wall every day, and I would think about climbing that ladder again. I really missed the birds and being high above the city, but I could never do it because I knew that accidents can happen. I eventually settled for watching the birds from the ground. It wasn't the same, but it was better than nothing. Then one day, an idea flew by. Hey, right when I read that, a bird flew right over my head. Making planes was harder than I thought. It was easy to get cuts and scratches, but day after day I kept trying and trying until I got it just right. I'm making a text to text connection between After the Fall and Leo the Lightning Bug. I see Humpty Dumpty working really, really hard to make his airplanes. And that made me think about how Leo was working hard to make his little lightning bug light up. My plane was perfect, and it flew like nothing could stop it. I hadn't felt that happy in a long time. It wasn't the same as being up in the sky with birds, but it was close enough. Unfortunately, accidents happen. They always do. That's kind of like learning, isn't it? We often make accidents or mistakes, but we know that's just a time to learn. I almost walked away again, but then I thought about all the time I'd spent working on my plane and all the other things I'd missed. I decided I was going to climb that wall. But the higher I got, the more nervous I felt. I didn't want to admit it. I was terrified. I didn't look up. I didn't look down. I just kept climbing, one step at a time, until I was no longer afraid. Maybe now you won't think of me as that egg who is famous for falling. Crack, crack. Hopefully, you'll remember me as the egg who got back up. And learned how to fly. So during this time of distance learning, I know there's going to be a lot of times where you're working and things get frustrating or you're challenged, or you're making accidents. And maybe as you're working home with your families, remember they're learning how to be teachers too. But when those challenging times come up, think of our friend here, Humpty Dumpty, and no matter what accidents may happen, what challenges you encounter at home, make sure you keep working hard. Think of Mojo that we've used in the past, think of Humpty Dumpty, and keep working hard at home.